Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit or Zappy here, back again with Attack on Titan. We're on episode 18 of season 3. I just want to kind of get out of the way, like what I've just decided to do is that, and this won't affect you guys, don't worry, like the reaction to episode 18 will be down there, and it's not like things are going to be changing. But I just want to let like everyone know exactly what I'm doing before I go into this. So I'm going to watch episode 17 again, so like just before I go into episode 18, strictly because I just want to be sort of in that headspace going into this next episode. I've never done this before for a reaction. There are some like episodes of things I've reacted to where I could have done that. Just generally, just one of the things that does irk me. I think there is pros and cons about releasing episodes like every week, and I get that that's the way they do things. It just is what it is. But there is something to like, binge watching a series that you can kind of stay in a mindset and be in that gradually, like over the course of episodes. By watching things week to week, generally what ends up happening is that you have that moment of of that like sort of the emotional impact of an episode in one episode, and then you've got a week to just sit on it, and by the time the next episode comes around, like you're not in that emotional state anymore. So there is like that kind of thing that is lost there. I'm just going to watch episode 17 of season 3 again just before going into this episode. Like I said, it's not going to affect you guys. Like once you go down and click the link down there, it'll just be the reaction to episode 18. That'll be it, yeah. But I just want to let you guys know, so I'm just getting into that sort of that headspace again, because I do actually want to go back through it and just experience it as is, and then get into it. But aside from all that, last episode, episode 17 was absolutely one of the best like standalone just episodes of anime that I've ever watched. Of course, that's obviously like down to the story leading up to it. You know what I mean? Because the lead up, like and every episode has its merit. I think in this show. I don't know if there's been really any one episode that like stands out as being like didn't really need that. I think they all hold their own in some regard. This one just does stand out, just head and shoulders really above the rest. I've said my piece. I don't need to explain what happened last episode. I don't think So yeah, I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna go watch episode 17 now. So if you do want to watch the reaction to episode 18. Then yeah, link is obviously down there, and then we'll get back to the post discussion after this episode. Okay, so yeah, without further ado, let's go. Fucking hate this show, man. Fucking hell, man. How, like... How the hell do you... It's like last week. It's like I'm done again for the day. Like I just can't even. I'm I'm happy I decided to watch episode 17 again, like directly before this, because I feel like this is like, I guess you could make the argument that, um, the episode 16 could like feature into this, but like, I feel like these last two episodes, like they go so much like hand in hand, like as one. It sucks. Armin and Erwin are like my first and second fucking character, like my favorite characters, you know. And the fact that they've made it a choice between my first and second favorite characters, like how the fuck can you do that to me, man? I guess like subconsciously it was always going to be there. It was always going to be in the back of my mind that would be the case, because I knew Erwin fucking like he couldn't have died like that there for it being like heroic, like charging in. I just feel like there had to be more with him a bit, and they got that there, like. And even he refused it as well. He refused getting given it. Like no matter who you lose, it's a fucking massive blow. I don't even know where to start. Yet again, these episodes just fuck with you, like on such a fucking emotional level, like that it just affects you mentally, that like you don't function. Okay, well, there's a few things that I wrote down. Again, like I only wrote down 5 things. Armin alive was pointless because that was all sorted out in the episode, so it's not something I really needed to talk about at the end of it, and then choosing between like Erwin and Armin, I've talked about that. I like, it's a choice. It's like it's an impossible fucking choice, I said during the reaction that like the only thing that I give the edge over to, I like when making a choice, because there wasn't a clear cut choice that you could make, that it would have to come down to who gave up more. I mean, they both gave up their lives, I guess, but like, but you see, like, just talking about it just isn't right, like choosing someone. But that's the things, like I think Erwin and his plan it wasn't totally him on his own, you know what I mean? Like he brought everybody to charge, so in a lot of people's minds, in Flock's especially, you mentioned that like he was the devil, you know what I mean? And if I'm charged with bringing back the devil, then so be it, because he deserves to live in this hell, you know what I mean? He sent all of those kids, all those rookies to their deaths, and it afforded opportunity, which is something I didn't actually touch upon from last episode. Is that like episode 17 was that opportunity was the key sort of, that was the key thing in that episode. You know, Erwin and all of the rookies that he had charge the Beast Titan afforded Levi the opportunity to kill the Beast Titan. And Armin afforded the opportunity to get Bertolt. Armin's worked. Erwin's didn't. And if that comes down to, you know, Levi, because you know he will, you know Levi will hate the fact that he let the Beast Titan go. Armin's plan worked. Erwin's didn't. But that's obviously again like when I'm trying, because I'm trying to talk myself into thinking that the right decision was made in the end, and at the end of the day it was, because Erwin gave it up. He literally slapped Levi's hand away. It's like, no, not me. So the choice was made up by Erwin himself, you know what I mean? I just, because the problem is that talking about it just it's a risk of like, you're weighing up things that can't be weighed up, because they give so much, you know what I mean? I think it's easy to say, like, sit back and say that Armin definitely deserves it because the way the story is, we know of Armin, you know what I mean? We've known him since the very first episode and we've grown with him, so he has that protagonist, like the audience and everyone has that protagonist view of him. He means more as a character than all of those, you know, all those rookies that we barely knew, that we didn't know, really. Not even barely knew. I mean, we barely know Flock, but he survived, and then Marlowe, we knew a bit more, and you know, that was tragic as well. But you know, just because of the massive like theatrics of Armin, you know, going down, he did it single-handedly, you know. But that's the thing, is like, when I'm saying it like that, I've run the risk of downplaying what Erwin did, and I'm not trying to do that at all, because they both had like one thing they could do to pull this off, and it was sacrifice. They were left with like one choice, but to figure it out in their head and to get them mentally prepared to do what they had to do took fucking a shit ton of guts to pull it off. And I think as it stands, you know, in terms of like difficulty of the mission, I would say Erwin had the harder job, because of the sheer like distance that they'd have to cover, and I think there was more things that could have gone wrong on that side of the wall, because there was Titans all around and things like that. But again, you had Levi, and I think when it comes down to it, it's like Levi just should have just fucking ended it, you know. You still had Bertolt and Reiner in that wall, you know. There were other options, but you know, that's the thing, is like, that's the character, that's Levi having that moment of like, you know, humanity, like, in him. It's like that moment of like, well, yeah, humanity, like, you know, thinking about saving lives as opposed to ending one, you know. And I think that is a as a premise, I think really encapsulates this show as the, like, the human side of it. So, it was always going to happen. I'm just thinking about this from, like, a logical standpoint, but that's the thing, is like when in this situation, shit is happening really, really fast, and all it takes is for you to sort of have a lapse of concentration, or you think about something a bit too long, and that's it, you've lost the opportunity. Of course, on the edge, Erwin, yeah, he had that, the strategizing, the experience, and the Armin can get there. You know what I mean? He can get to that point. It's just that as of right now, they don't have that one standing authoritative figure to be able to pull that off at the moment. So as of right now, I don't know where they start. We know Hanji's taking command now, and she has a good mind on her as well. I mean, there's something like, the fact that Levi missed his chance to kill the Beast Titan, and then Hanji missed hers as well. But like I say, is like I can't. I think I can sit here, and anybody can sit here and say that you should have just killed them and be done with it, But like I say, I think it's the human side of it playing into it. It's like, can we get away with doing this without just simply killing off somebody? But I think this is a big turning point now, because if there ever comes a time where that situation props up again, I don't think they would hesitate next time, I think now it's just a case of... But then, they're always playing that card of like, it's about learning about what is going on in a way, but I think it's almost like a losing battle, because you don't have those... You don't, like, Reiner and Bertolt and all of that, they're just not going to give it up. I think one of the big things when taken away, like, when coming away from this episode, is the way Bertolt reacted. That he knew that he was done for, and that he resorted to... It's an interesting juxtaposition of what had occurred the couple episodes before, when Bertolt was like, right, that's it, I'm fully on board with what we have to do, and he didn't want to talk anymore. Like, you know what I mean? He was done talking, and he just wanted action. And then when the rules are reversed, and he was staring death in the face and he couldn't get away from it, he looked over at the group and was hoping that they could stop it, but that's the thing. I think what I really need to say regarding that whole situation is that, I've gotten, like, some things that, like, in the past about how the way, not as bad as what other people get, because I think it's, to completely shut out everything that Reiner or Bertolt or Annie do, just simply because they are the other side, right? They are, set up to be, they're not our protagonists. The story dictates that they are on the opposite side. They don't tell us anything, so you're not supposed to be rooting for them. At this point in the story, I'll say that, because I don't know what comes later, depending on what crops up. Because I'm still in the frame of mind of, like, with them lot, it does seem the way that the Beast Titan, Zeke or whatever, treats them, that they were kids. And they had their mind sort of, they were impressionable when they were kids, and they've been told about this like the civilization of people that are said to be like an evil race, and you have to get rid of them in a way. But like so back to basically what I was saying. I've had over the episodes, like I do see them, like, because I can see their side from what they've been given, because they've clearly been told, and they don't know any better. They're following orders, and they don't know the bigger picture. So I can understand from their point of view why they do things, but I don't agree with it. And that's the thing, is like I don't think you're supposed to root for them at this moment in time. But then even then, it's like Bertolt at the end there, you feel sorry for him, So I'm not gonna sit here and say fucking good riddance. You know what I mean? Because I don't think it's entirely fair. But so that's as fair as I can give it. I mean, who knows what I would have been like if both Erwin and Armin had died and somehow Bertolt was like managed to get away. I'd probably be pissed off at them, like because. But I just it's so fucking tragic, just everything, But it comes down to this idea. It's just like you never speak up, and that's the problem, And I think that at the end, when Bertolt, when he knew he was going to die, he was looking for help. He wanted to talk when, before, when he wasn't at death's door, like he didn't want to talk himself. He was done with that. So I think that's what it comes down to at the end. Is like they don't tell each other shit and they're left in the dark, so all they do is fight for a reason that they don't even know what they're fighting for, on Reiner's and Bertolt's side and whatnot. It's just that they were told, and that's basically it. I'm happy Armin's back. I'm really happy Armin's back. He's my favorite character, So, and trying to think of it from some standpoint. Maybe Erwin had everything that he could give, Like maybe he gave everything that he could, because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like fuck, Armin's the fucking Colossal Titan now. What? Like that wasn't even on my mind. The only thing that like, fuck, that's crazy. I didn't even fucking think about that. Like the only thing I was thinking about was of because the focus was never about them really on getting the power. It was more bringing them back. When they were talking, like they had a little flashback scene to Erwin basically saying this is like a essentially like a revive in a way. It's like a we can essentially bring you back from like almost certain death with this thing. That the focus was never on like them getting the power, more than just making sure they didn't die. So the only thing I was hoping for and thinking about during this whole process was who's going to come back to life. I only just fucking my brain only just fucking realigned and the cogs went back into place, and I fucking didn't even think that fucking Armin's the fucking Colossal Titan now. This is crazy. Holy fuck. I mean, fuck, I'm not gonna lie, having Erwin be like the Colossal Titan would be badass. Not to say having Armin be that is great as well. It's a crazy dynamic to think about, having like a strategist or a commander be a Titan and have that power, because I kind of see those as weapons and tools that they use, like they go like out on the front line, which, you know, generally, like, you know, commanders and stuff like that. I mean, I guess that's not entirely fair, because Commander Erwin always led pretty much, you know, from the front, so, you know, but having a sort of strategist out doing that kind of thing is a bit of a risk. Although I guess in saying that, you know, Armin can take damage now and he'll be alright, as long as he doesn't, you know, get hit in the wrong place. So Reiner had a letter from Ymir that is supposed to go to Krista. Now, as far as I'm aware, Ymir is dead. If she's not, I'll be surprised. And I'll be pleasantly fucking happy as well, because I really, really like Ymir. But I think, you know, because after season 2, it might have been like around episode 1 of season 3 or something, I asked about where Ymir was, because there was like a scene with Reiner and Bertolt and whatever, and like Ymir wasn't there, and I said, where's Ymir? Where's she gone? And somebody spoke up and basically said that if you go back to like the last episode of season 2, she explains that, you know, she gives herself up to be taken back, you know, because so they don't go back empty-handed. She was basically doing it for Reiner and Bertolt's sake. And because of that, it just feels like, you know, and I've thought about this as like, you know, trying to, because I think there are, between the Titans, there is a distinction between them depending on what power they have or what they sort of, how they work. And I'm thinking that it's interesting that Ymir, when she ran with her Titan or anything like that, like she was more like of a quadruped. Like she would use arms and legs, and then you have that Titan there that's carrying the boxes and stuff on its back, that is also like a quadruped. And it makes me wonder if that Titan had basically eaten Ymir and gotten the power from her there, and that's what it is. But there's no way to really tell. I'm sure there's Titans out there that have these powers that we haven't seen yet, so, you know, they don't always have to be related to only the ones that we've seen as of right now. But yeah, I mean, it's a fucking MVP Titan, that fucking box Titan. It's saved both the Beast Titan and Reiner at this point. You know what I mean? Like, talk about fucking luck. God damn it, man. Like, they had, fuck, like, God. I mean, coming away from the episode for a second, could you imagine, like, I know for like story purposes, to have these characters alive and not just straight out dead is you know, for the story, you know, kind of has to be that way. But just by how these last couple episodes went, like, they could have done some serious fucking damage to this side. Like, fucking Levi could have killed Zeke, Hanji could have killed Reiner, and Armin could have eaten Bertolt, and that would be that. You know what I mean? Like, but again, like I feel like I've talked about this briefly before, but like the idea that we don't know necessarily if it's even possible to kill a human shifter, right? Like, without it being eaten, is what I'm saying. I guess it must be because Reiner did do that thing and he says that, oh, that was close if I hadn't have shifted my consciousness. So I guess there is a way. It's just interesting that it just seems like the only way to transfer a power is to eat the person who has it as a Titan, and then you get it. And that's the only way. So you've got to assume that, like, once if you were to kill a Titan shifter as when they were a human, and you didn't do it by eating them, you just, I don't know, chopped their head off, whatever the fuck, destroyed that actual nape. I guess chopping the head off would be enough, right? Judging by what Reiner had said about the consciousness thing, but you would think then if they were to do that, that power would just be lost, and you wouldn't be able to get it. Because a Titan's not going to eat a dead person, is it? So even if a Titan did come along and like, nah. Well, I guess that would be one way, but a Titan's not going to go out and eat a dead body, is it? You know? I guess theoretically, whatever juices that, you know, they were injected with the fucking, with the Titan serum stuff anyway. So like, if by chance a Titan did come along and say like the dead body of Reiner, for example, right, and edit, it would become the armored Titan, but it wouldn't go and eat the fucking thing anyway because it's dead, right? But this all stems from, I mean, it all depends on where it stems from, I should say, because you would think, right, I need to go back because there's during the episode at roughly towards the beginning, it was when fucking Zeke showed up, and he knows Eren, he knows Grisha. He doesn't know Eren, he knows Grisha, and he seems like familiar with his situation, and that Grisha like brainwashed him. Yeah, like when that happened during the episode, I was like, shit, I didn't think Grisha came from outside the walls, and if he had that Titan power like already within him when he got there, it's not like too far out of the way to basically say that Grisha probably came from wherever they're from, right? And so, like, by that logic, you'd have to assume that wherever they're from, they're the ones that have the ability to create this power, right? In some form or fashion. Whether it's from, I mean, I've got to imagine it stems from science. I mean, Grisha kind of had that sort of within him. Like, he has, like, the knowledge of it. He's a very smart dude, you know what I mean? He ends up becoming a doctor, so he has some form of, like, you know... And it all just, I guess it just all depends on what the fuck's in the basement. I imagine that's where we're going now. That has to be it now, because that's it, right? The fucking Zeke and Reiner and the box Titan, whatever, they've fucked off, right? They're retreating now. So there has to be just going to the basement to say what the fuck. Jesus Christ. My fucking key, you get to use it finally. You know what I mean? I fucking had this, and I fucking bought it so I would wear it on like reactions for Attack on Titan and stuff, and every time I fucking forget. But yeah, whatever. The key wasn't what was important, and anyway, in these last fucking 2 episodes, so it didn't even matter. But so yeah, Yeah, the email letter. I think I got lost on that. Sorry, it's just my brain's like these episodes just completely befuddle me. Um, yeah, so to Krista. So yeah, I think she's dead. I think this is probably a letter that Reiner and Bertolt allowed her to write um, before they killed her off. You know. Um, so yeah, that's going to be an emotional moment when we'll get to fucking see that being read out. Motherfucker. So talking about Krista anyway. I need to know to what degree Reiner and Bertolt, well, I guess just Reiner now, wanting to get. Actually, no, I don't think Zeke knows about Krista. I think that's a secondary, like, sort of thing that only Reiner and Bertolt, like, sort of had in their head to get her out of there. Because when they were fighting, it was to determine whether or not they wanted to go after the coordinate, which is what Zeke wanted to do, and Reiner and Bertolt wanted to go get Annie, right? And that was the sort of fight that they had. So it didn't have anything to do with Krista, right? It just makes me feel like I don't know what's going on in their head. Like, what do they think they're going to get by bringing Krista back? Because surely, like, they're not going to just allow her, you know what I mean? Like, it's like Krista's just going to come along and, like, walk in, and then I guess, like, the higher ups around that place are just going to be like, oh yeah, welcome. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But yeah, big. Fucking Erwin and Bertolt. So yeah, that's fucking big. That's it's going to be dangerous as well. Armin having this power, like, if we remember back to when Eren had it for the first time, he couldn't even remember the first few times he used it, right? Like, it's a thing of, like, you needing to connect fully with your Titan in order to control it. There has to be a level of experience being a part of it to be able to control it fully. Otherwise, it can go mad. And with Eren's Titan, that's one thing because of the size of it. But the Colossal Titan, like, if you know, if it works the same way and Armin can't control it the first two times, like, the Colossal Titan is a Titan that you, like, that's got to be, like, the hardest one to fucking to sort of tame in a way, you know. I don't know to what degree it could work, because if it's going by, like, somebody's, like, how adept somebody is with their brain, you know, because with Armin, because he is so smart, maybe it's one thing where he could just, like, you know, the first time he's in, he's like, oh, I can, you know, because of just how smart he is, maybe he's just able to connect with it, and therefore it just, you know, it's not something he has to, you know, it's not something that just takes over, is what I'm trying to say. Because you'll still need to, like, you know, I'm sure there'll still be, like, maybe, like, a scene or something of, like, him, like, trying to get used to, you know, maneuvering around and stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, Zeke and whatnot need to take this into account, because, I mean, losing that, the Colossal Titan, I mean, at this point, you know, somebody commented, I can't, remember, where's the guy's name? Commander Zest on YouTube said, "Have you ever heard of the term Pyrrhic victory?" And I know of the. That's basically the term of what I was referring to at the end of last episode, where I was like, "Does this count as, like, a victory for humanity in a way?" And it's like, well, it's not. It's like, because of the losses that it took to get the victory, basically means that, you know, it's basically no one won, you know. And I mean, even because of those losses, now out of everything that has happened in this last episode, I think it's a win for humanity. Just because the fact that they've now got the Colossal Titan on their side. I mean, Erwin and the amount of people that are lost is still a big fucking... It's a big loss. But having another Titan on side, and the Colossal one at that, I mean, when I was weighing up the sort of things of, like, you know, it was one thing to have the Beast Titan out there, and then he got away. But in this episode, you have, you know, Bertolt and you have Reiner there. You know, and I was, like, weighing up as, like, which one would you rather have? Because you've only got one syringe, so, you know, you can only use once. Like, use it on one of them. So, you know, I was weighing up, like, what would be the best one to have, and, like, you know, at the very beginning, like, in episode 1 of this show, I was like, you know, that fucking hell, that armor one's great, but I just think that the Colossal just has so many more uses that is huge. I mean, I don't know. There seems to be, like, a sort of a general weakness with the Colossal Titan with its sustainability. They obviously picked up on that, the fact that, you know, it was getting skinnier and stuff. I just think because of the sheer size and the heat and everything like that, I think it's just more sort of, it has more to offer than the Armored Titan did. You know, I mean, that was just for me though, me weighing up the options, not weighing up the options for the characters, because, you know, as Hanji kind of pointed out, like, you know, they didn't know what was going on elsewhere. For all they know, they didn't have Bertolt, and Bertolt was already dead, or, you know, the Beast Titan was already dead. For all they knew at that point, you know, so they didn't know. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I'm trying to go through and see and try and remember if there's anything that I've missed or anything like that. I think the biggest sort of thing going forward, because I think everything else, like, wrapped up, and it's not about what happens from now more than Zeke knowing Eren, and the thing that he left off with, which I can't remember now, so I'm gonna go try and find it, because he said something, where is it? It's like right at the beginning, isn't it? Yeah, here we go. He says, right, we're both victims of your father. He has the same eyes. Hold on, 2 seconds. Fuck, I don't know. You see, for all I know, that could... Right, I need to show you what I'm looking at, because at the moment you're just looking at my fucking stupid face, like, trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. Like, this could easily be a visual, like, anime cue. It's like, oh, we're swapping out the eyes. But they look exactly the fucking same. But again, that could just be, like, the way that, you know, easier to draw that way. You know, there's a lot of times where, like, anime and other things have, like, you know, done, like, the transition into another, you know, person's face and whatever. But fuck, like, and bloody, and like, Zeke has these glasses, right? Are we sure this is just not... Nah, because it's not going to be... Are we sure this is not just Grisha? Yeah, because somehow he managed to be eaten by Eren and still alive, right? There's something here, though. There has to be, right? The interesting thing is that he's claiming that they've been brainwashed by him. But I don't know what Grisha would gain from that if he was going to just give himself up anyway, you know? Like, if he was just gonna, you know, literally get himself killed, you know, offer himself up, sacrifice himself so that Eren could, you know, go on. I think because we know so little of Grisha that I guess there could be something with, like, oh, well, we don't know the extent of the reasons why Grisha sacrificed himself, because is it just the case of, like, because he wants to keep his son safe, or, you know, keep the coordinates safe? We don't know that. So, yeah. It's going to be interesting regardless. To see what comes of that. So yeah, there's that. And then there was the thing that he left on, which was, where is it? Let's call it a draw. We're in no shape to fight. Yeah, he gives up Bertolt. Like, he's just like, nah, sorry, that's it. Yeah, so he ends off with saying, Eren, someday I'm coming back to rescue you. So why would he do that? He's got to be a relative. Fuck. like a step, because he's, wait a minute. You see, he looks relatively old, like uncle maybe. Let me have a look at Grisha one more time. Sorry guys, I know you can't really see exactly what I'm going on here. Yeah, it looks like he could be like an uncle or something. Because, you know, mixed, like, with the idea that the eyes look so fucking similar, and I don't understand, like, why else he would have this sort of, I don't know why he would leave Eren with being like, I'm coming back to rescue you, unless there was some bond there, and the only thing I can think of has got to be family, right? I remember the first, when was it? Was it the, shit. What, when was the, what episode was it that we saw Zeke for the first time? Was it the end of episode 1, season 2? Where, like, it like, I think it's like going over, like, you know, fucking, like, all the walls and stuff, and it's like a long, like, sort of almost like tracking shot over the walls, and, you know, from the interior to the exterior, and then it shows, like, the Beast Titan's body on the top of the wall, and then Zeke rises from above it, right? And he has the fucking, he has like those glasses, the same as one, like the round glasses, like the same one Grisha has. And I remember saying, like, I think I literally said, like, the words, is that Grisha? What the fuck? You know what I mean? Because it looked like him. So, I mean, if that's what it is, if it comes down to him being family, then Christ, that adds an extra fucking level of, like, fuck. I mean, you're fighting your family at that point. But then, again, like, it's like that they weren't growing up with each other. They don't know each other, you know? So, it's crazy. This is crazy. I don't think there's anything else to really talk about. If I've missed anything, I apologise. But, you know, it's a lot to fucking... Yeah, it's a lot to take in, these episodes, you know? And even when I'm right, like, you know, there are episodes in particular where I just don't write stuff down because I'm so into what the fuck's happening on screen. So, you know, I sometimes with these episodes I can't get everything down. But regardless, fucking Christ. And another amazing episode. This fucking season's been crazy. So yeah, that's all I've got. So thank you everyone for watching. In the description below I've linked certain things. One of them is the Discord. If you want any information regarding my content, you can get yourself over there. You can also come talk to me about the community as well, and Patreon as well. So I do have a Patreon. If you do want to support me, that would be very much appreciated. There's a bunch of different tiers and rewards depending on how much you want to support me with. So there's the early access for $5 a month. That gives you access to shows a week early, and you get 4 episodes of Hunt x Hunt every week as well. $10 a month, that's the full length. That gives you access to my full-length library. Everything I react to gets a full length. $15 a month, that is the exclusive tier. That gives you access to a bonus show that I'm currently reacting to, which is 7 Deadly Sins. Elite tier, $50. Every time you pay $50, you'll get a choice of a show that you want me to react to, and I will react to it. It will go at the back of the list by about 7 shows. Might take me a while to get round to it, but I will do eventually. But if you don't want to wait that long and you want your show to be reacted to next, and you want to get God tier, which is $100. But that is all, so thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.